Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's video. Today, I want to talk to you about picking your patients to actually pick your future. And you may be surprised, but your future is actually in your hands. You can direct it any way you actually really want it to go by picking the right type of patients that you see. Now, if you think about it logically, you only have a certain amount of hours per day to see patients. Therefore, your income is actually limited by the amount of hours you actually have each day. Yes, you can work more hours and see more patients if that's what you choose to do, but long term, that can't be sustained. And eventually, you will burn out and it will be detrimental to your health. And if you have a team and you're expecting them to do the same thing, it's not going to be good for them either. And if you push them too hard, they will actually leave. And I've seen this happen a lot. The other thing you can do is you can actually increase your fees, which it's always an option, but it still actually has its limitations long term. But here's a better option. If you want to make more money or increase your total clinic revenue, I think you need to be seeing better patients, not necessarily more patients. And by seeing better patients, it will definitely have a direct effect on your future and what your future looks like. Because better patients, there's a few things you need to understand. Better patients will actually pay more. They won't argue when you increase your fees. And each year you should be increasing your fees. Your better patients will not argue about that when you do it. They will never cause a scene at your front reception counter. And this is the other good part is they will talk about you in a positive way. So whenever they're talking to somebody else, it'll always be positive. And the final thing is better patients refer people who are usually similar to themselves because think about it, that's who they associate with. If you think of your circle of friends that you actually hang around with, think of the people, the 5 or 10 closest people that you associate with. Your better patients associate with those sort of people as well. So when they're thinking of referring someone to you, that's who you're actually going to receive. And here's the point that you really need to remember, that if you want to attract better patients, you've got to be doing the type of work that better patients are actually attracted to. So think about what better patients want and make sure that you're actually providing those services. And make this a big part of your overall marketing strategy. You need to, one, make sure that you have time in your schedule each day for better patients. Don't fill your day with patients that are not inspiring you in any way, or you're doing the type of work that you don't actually enjoy doing each day. The second part is if you want, for example, more biomechanical or more MSK patients, you've got to have room for them in your appointment book. So this is actually part of your marketing strategy. And I totally understand when you're first starting your business or it hasn't been going for too long, you've got bills to pay and you have commitments. You have a roof over you, you got to feed your family. So I totally understand that. So initially you will treat everybody who usually walks through your door and you usually won't be selective. And sometimes you're happy to take a little bit of abuse, but at some point you've got to draw a line in the sand and you've got to strategically change how you're approaching the type of patients that you're treating. And this is why it's really important that you need to understand the numbers of your business. At some point, you need to know when your bills are taken care of, when everything is looked up. And when that happens, that's when you've got time that you can start carving out chunks of time in your appointment book to see the type of patients that really inspire you, that make you want to go to work each day. Now, initially, the times that you block out to see those type of patients may not necessarily always be booked out. So don't immediately fill them with patients that it's not inspiring work. You're better to leave that time blank and use that time wisely to create content that will actually attract those better patients. So if you like working with specific sporting teams or specific sports, it might be basketball, could be football, netball, or you might really love treating triathletes. What you want to do is in those time blocks, if you don't actually have patients booked in that inspires you, use that time to then create content that will attract those type of patients. Like I said, basketball, football, netball, triathletes. You want to create blog articles for your website. You want to create informative videos that you may use on social media, your website. You might actually have it on your YouTube channel. But what you want to do is in those time blocks, like I said, don't just fill it up again with patients who are screaming to come and see you. You want to fill them up with either the patients that really inspire you, your better patients, or if not, you want to be creating content that is aimed at those better patients. And the same principle applies if you wanted more, if you wanted more children in the clinic, or it doesn't matter what it is, apply those same principles, is create the content to attract that type of patient. Or it might even be a particular service that you want to introduce. And Shockwave would be a perfect example. If you want more Shockwave patients in your business, you've got to create content, blogs and videos. One article or one video is not going to get you the better patients or the people that are searching for that particular service. You've got to create multiple pieces of content if you want to attract the better patients. And this is the good news, is when your better patients, the ones that you're chasing, the ones that inspire you, when they actually fill up those time slots that you've blocked out each day, you then have a choice whether you just leave it as it is or you start to expand those time slots. And the more time slots you expand, then more better patients will actually be able to come in. And this is something important to understand. When you're first creating content, there's no guarantee that it will immediately bring in the patients that you want, those better patients, which is why you must allow time in your schedule to just keep producing it. I know sometimes you'll see somebody will produce a video, whether it's on TikTok or YouTube or on Instagram, and you see it has tens of thousands of people watching it or responding to it. There's no guarantee that when you create content that you're going to get that sort of reaction. That is sometimes a bit of a fluke. You just got to accept that. It doesn't happen for everybody. But the idea is if you keep producing it and you keep putting it out there, it increases your chance that those better patients will see that content that you produced and they will contact you. An example, like I mentioned before about Shockwave, I was talking to someone earlier today and we did a search on Shockwave in their area. And it was surprising, about 80% of the articles were written by physiotherapists. So if a patient was searching for Shockwave right now and you wanted more Shockwave patients and you don't have any articles on that, no content created on that, or you got one piece, believe me, there's a ton of physios out there who now all have Shockwave machines. And I was surprised that I did a search in multiple areas and nearly every one of them, the physios were dominating that space. And I don't think that should be the way that it is. When I had my first Shockwave 14 years ago, I had that many articles written about it. When you look up Shockwave, I just dominated all those spots. And I think that's an area that we're missing out on. We've got to learn to create content to attract the patients that we want to attract into our business, the better patients, because if you want to control your future, all you do is control the patients that are actually coming into your business. Long term, when you actually understand this concept and you know how to create content to attract better patients, you then will be able to direct your financial future wherever you want it to go. So if there's a particular area that you really want to sort of dive into, it might be something completely different to what interests you right now. Once you understand the concept on how to do it, you'll be able to go, oh, okay, I've done this before. This is how I'll attract those better patients this time. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Tell your podiatry friends. And if you want more information, you want to get in contact with me, you can go to my website, tysonfranklin.com. Or please feel free to send me an email, tf@tysonfranklin.com. I'm always open to answering any questions. So I hope you got something from this video, and I'll have another one for you next week. Okay, bye.